everyone. So I'm Louise and this is Iain, and we are currently in the process of building a cob house in Scottstown, Monaghan. So we're quite close to the border there, just a couple miles off the border of Fermanagh. So we were looking to buy, when the whole thing crashed and houses were cheap, we're like, we might, take a look around us. And then we realised we'd have to compromise in so many areas. So we are very lucky, there is farmland of our family. So we managed to get this site here and decided, well, sure, we'll build a cob house, why not? So we did come up against issues with planning, actually in regards to sight lines. You have to get to the end of the road and see a certain distance. So we actually managed to get a replacement dwelling on the land. This is also an older house which will be across from us, so we've kind of mimicked it nearly in the shape of our house, and we hope to restore that down the line. It's stone and earth mortar. So this is the house we had to take down as a replacement dwelling. We actually wanted to restore it ideally and just extend it, and it is rendered here in concrete, but it actually is a stone and earth mortar underneath. The only problem was there's a cattle house here literally, so you have to build 100 metres away from the tank of the cattle house. So we managed, even though it's a replacement dwelling, we managed to move it back and kind of rotate the house to use an existing lane there. So this house has come down now, so that's kind of halfway through there. So we've seen it in Grand Designs, like I think a lot of people have, yeah. So it was Kevin McCabe's It's Dingle Dell, yes. I think it's called. So we watched that and thought, wow, this is amazing. And we also have this. This was a mound of clay that was dug out of the tank of the cattle house and has been there for many years. This is Willow the horse showing it off. And it was basically an eyesore, and it's my dad's farmland, so he's like, well, it's, subsoil, what do we do with it? Sitting there, we're like, make a great wall. And we were like, what would happen in Ireland? So we came across Mud and Wood, Phelan Collins, and we went down to their open day and just loved the house and said, we should do a course in this. And of course we were hooked from then. Sorry, I'm getting way ahead of myself. This is Jack's, he's showing off our nice safety gear. He's a very safety conscious member of the team. So just in I sent this picture to Iain at work. I was like, building control has arrived.
Make it stay too long.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he actually scared off our initial, the planner came out about the test holes, for your septic systems and stuff, and he was terrified of dogs, so we were like, she just kind of got out of the car. It looks great back in the car, and all, so he's actually worked pretty well for us. But just in regards to planning, planning isn't the issue. Your application, because they just want to see the aesthetics of the house and that it fits in with the local vernacular. So this is our house. It's very, very conventional design. We kind of wanted to keep it conventional because it's a little bit simpler, it's easier to self-build. We also had quite a bit of stone out of the other house, so we have gone for a stone out shot here as well. And as I said, it sort of mimics the cottage that's across from us as well. So that's just the interior, which is really hard to see there. But we've downstairs and upstairs, and again we've kept it quite simple. We did go with a relatively new architect and engineer, and they were open to it, but I suppose in a way they weren't very experienced, and we maybe just didn't push the boat out as much as we would have liked. And of course we're not builders or engineers or architects. We just are giving it a go, giving it a lash. So I suppose we could have pushed it a little bit more with that. We did have to get a structural engineer in as well who'd worked with cob, so that was an additional cost as well. And then Fela has input in our design as well. So yeah, the building regs, as Fela mentioned, do not take cob into consideration at all. It can't be calculated on the current system. There's just no application for it, so that's why it's great to see some of the work being done here today. So we've had to bump up our insulation. It's very, very costly, so sort of what you save on cob, you're paying out in other areas as well. So yeah, to get through, we will have a 50mm lime plaster mix internally. Limeham, sorry. And we'll have additional insulation in the roof and floor as well to make up that.
Stone out shot there, you see, is cavity, so it's infilled as well. So the insulation from it, along with extra on the floor and roof, pull the values up. So the only value for the cob walls they have is the 50mm of hemp lime plaster. The other 600mm of cob has nothing on the system. Not that it doesn't count, but on their system it doesn't count.
Doesn't exist. So we have we did want to go for as well. We came up with issues with the foundations as well. We want to go for a rubble trench. So our engineer was like, "Oh, you can do that, but you're gonna have to put concrete over it." Great. So we did go. We had to we did have to compromise, and we just didn't want to use concrete. We did end up using EcoStem, which it's a type of concrete I think it's relatively new to the market, but it's basically 16. There's a load of technical stuff I'm not going to go into on it, but it releases 16 times less carbon than normal concrete. So that was the compromise we made.
So basically, the rubble trench foundation was going to be rubble trench and nearly the same amount of concrete.
So it just was
poured on top of it. So you're basically digging twice the depth, filling it with extra stone, and then putting the exact same amount of concrete on top of it. So from that point, from a financial point of view, it didn't make any sense, and it overdone the eco side of it. So
it had our guilt a little bit to use it, but so our finished floors aren't decided yet, and the insulation on them, because there's always new stuff coming on board, so that's going to be well down the line. We'll be doing that, so we'll see where we're at then. We also got quite a bit of usable stone out of the house we took down, because we kind of expected it to be a bit rubbly, but it's actually quite nice. So this is sandstone that's local to the area, because of course back then you used what was local to the area. So this is, I think, after I'd power washed every single one of them. So we've been using that in our stone plinth and our outshot as well. We have used some block underground just to save on stone, because building stone is so expensive, and because a lot of the stone's already squared up, we kind of had to keep with that. So to buy it in and have it dressed and everything was just would have been a serious expense.
Originally the outshot was to be cob or straw baled, and we decided to go with the stone, so we wanted to save as much stone as possible for that. So
this we have used lime mortar throughout, so on our stone and our block as well is the lime mortar we've used as well. And this is our other building control person. This is Splash the cat. This is the geocell. This is what's used in the stone cavity plinth there, you can see behind you. So it is recycled glass. It's really, really easy material to work with. It actually just looks like coal there, but it's really, really easy to work with. You can handle it, there's no problem there. You just take a big stick and whack it in. It's so easy to do. So we did look at a couple of alternatives, and that's what we came up with for that. And we're hoping we might be able to get away with the floor, but we'll have to see a bit further down the line. So on to the cob mixing. I'm way ahead of myself again. The problem with Monaghan is the grey stony soil of Monaghan. There's a lot of stone in it. This was a scrapbook that we came up with to try get the stone out of it. It didn't work well, because it turns out subsoil is really sticky. So it just didn't quite work out as well. So we've ended up going with, this is the larger system here, so at a 45-degree angle. So digger drops it down, comes through, and hopefully takes the stone out. So you can see that's sort of sieve there. That was our biggest challenge to date, was just getting the stone out. To actually get the cob on the wall isn't the time consuming part. That's the big thing. So we broke ground in 2007, and for that year we got our foundations in, and we built a bit of the plinth as well. We've a local builder who's happy enough to kind of go in and out, which isn't easy to do, because a lot of the large building organisations don't want you to do anything. They want to come in, do the work, and leave. He's happy enough to hop in, and we'd be like, here, we've ran out of money this week, off you go, come back to us in a while, or we need you for this, and he's very good for that. So we bought a digger specifically for the purpose of cob. This is here, so you can see she's a beautiful new fashionable digger. It's just impossible to build a large scale project mixing by foot or mixing in a more environmentally friendly way. It's just not feasible. So we have a pit here that we actually dig in. We've actually slats out. There was a cattle house coming down and had slats in, so we've used that around the edges just to stop pulling more clay in. And we've mixed there, because we had a local heritage day, and a guy was like, oh, I'd love to see where you mix it, and we're like, it's just a big hole in the ground really, but there you go.
Plus we had it fenced off so no one fell into it.
We were like, oh, what's over there?
Away from a big trade secret.
Yeah,
I know, it's literally all it was.
So we started off with formers, and you can see them here, and we braced and we braced and we braced, and I think we got a bit too excited in our first mix, kind of beating it in, and we did find that it was moving and it was bulging, so when we took it off we still ended up trimming. So we did trial freehand, and it's actually working pretty well for us. So you're basically building and then coming back and trimming. Depending on the moisture in the mix, you can trim back that day or a couple of days later. It does mean you can't build as high, so we were aiming for 2 foot with the formers, and here about a foot depending on the moisture in the mix, and that's actually been working really, really well for us. You can see some of our helpers here as well that have been pulled in. These are them. These people have never worked with mud before, so I think that
some of them very skeptical before that.
Yeah, very skeptical.
Before they started.
But that's the nice part of it. Like, these are mostly family and neighbours and stuff who just have come in. They've just chipped in to help out, and they all have some sort of skill to bring to it, and I suppose it's that community end as well. Like Paul at the end there's building a timber frame house, and we've helped him out, so it's bringing all that together. And all the people we have working, our local builder guy who actually dug our foundations, just we weren't confident enough to do it ourselves, we're all local to us, and ready to chip in. So yeah, this is our local heritage day we had very recently. We had about 50 to 60 people up having a look around, and quite a few of them had come a bit of distance, and then quite a few locals just come up and see these mad hippies building a mud house. Had just come in for a nosy, and a couple of the kids getting into it. And that's what I was saying, I suppose I said it to some people there just when we were on our lunch, is so important. I know it's very frustrating to follow planning, but it's so important, because we were able to open our house up and let people come and see it, people who might never have experienced it before. Whereas if we were a bit cloak and dagger about this, we wouldn't be able to do that. So it meant we could bring our house more into the mainstream. A lot of people were so surprised to come up in our house with straight walls. They were like, this looks like a normal house. They were very, very surprised by it. And the hope is that by building a contemporary cob house, that you're starting to introduce, obviously nobody's going to go out, people aren't going to walk away from this and build a full cob house, but they might take something away from it. And you're starting to introduce that element into natural building. I suppose we've come up against, I suppose I've been in different forums and they're like, oh, your house isn't fully natural, but as long as you can use as much as you can, then you're starting to introduce that to the mainstream. So this is where we're at. This is so dark, I do apologise. You can see just the top layers hasn't been trimmed yet, so we're about 3 lifts up. We're doing another lift now in 2 weeks, and then we'll wrap up for the winter as well, because it's slow, it's time consuming, it's a bit back breaking, but it's so worth it just to see it go up and get into the mix. Like, we're much more confident about the mix than when we started. At the start we were handling it, looking at each other.
A few people had said that there was one of the walls we done first last year, sort of rushed to get it done, to leave it over the winter, see how it would dry, and just we weren't happy with it. Like, I wasn't happy with it. There's a few stones and things in it, and just it looked like it would fall down, but as I was saying to a few people when they tried to take it down, it was far from falling down. Actually had to get in other equipment to take it down, because hammers and spades were just coming off it. So I suppose it shows, even if it wasn't a great mix, it shows you the strength, and I've found that a lot of people are coming up and poking it and thinking it's going to be soft. People going, watching it, breaking their hand. People think when you say mud that it's sloppy, wet mud, like, they don't understand.
That's it. Well, our hope is we've kind of, optimistically 2 years, maybe a bit pessimistically 3 years, but we hope to finish cobbing by next summer. We've sort of ironed out all the kinks now, and we hope to finish cobbing midsummer, get a roof on, get our insulation just to protect the cob. So our roof is obviously it's more overhang, so 60 centimetres overhang just to protect it, and then we have our stone plinth as well. So that's our hope. We're kind of adapting a little bit as we go. There's new things come on the market, we're adding it in, but so that's kind of it's got called the mud house, so the name is sort of stuck. So with this winter we hope to just do a bit more landscaping and work around it, and we'll also be building up our scaffolding for next year, because we are starting to get above that height where we need to be. They're actually window opens as well, so we'll have our triple glazed windows as well to get true standards. But that's all I can say to you is a lot of people, we're up a lane, nobody can see us, but it's well worth going through the planning system and doing it right, because that just moves the building forward, and it's up to the next person who's building a cob house under these building regs to just take it that step forward and use us as an example. Get all the help, get the people involved that you need, and to push it forward into the future.
I think it's great having your input, Phil, of the house you've done recently, because that's now a go-to. Like, when we were trying to fight for things, because we're not from a architect background running, there's some things we sort of felt we had to go with, but now we can go, well, no, there's a house in Sligo done by an architect, and when they hear that, it sort of gets it more mainstream. So it's just it's having someone to refer back to, and someone that listen to, because when we found we were pushing things, we were trying to push things we didn't maybe fully understand the technical side of, so it was harder to get across. But
yeah, it's worth having all those steps on the ladder to having it out there. So I think that's us. Thank you very much.